In this piece of drone footage from 2015, several officials in hazmat suits are on the bank of a river in Poland, performing some unknown functions. The four of them appear to lift something heavy from the ground. As they move towards the paramedics with the mysterious findings, a huge fishtail can be seen poking out from behind, suggesting a monstrous sea creature. The hazmat-suited people then turn to the water's edge before climbing back up the hill and pushing a stretcher out of view. In this GoPro video from 2017, this motorcyclist was low on gas, so he pulled into a nearby gas station where he recorded something inexplicable with his camera. While he tries to pay with his credit card, a mysterious human shadow shows up behind him. But when he turns around, nothing is there. On May 13th of 2021, a YouTube channel called Snake Catchers Brisbane and Gold Coast uploaded a video with the description reading, "This afternoon, we were called to a job in Munruben, where a 91-year-old lady claims that there was a snake head poking out of her sink. After a quick look down the drain and not being able to see anything, I decided to undo the S-bend, only to find a common tree snake." The lady was quite pleased with herself that there was actually a snake, quoting, "I'm glad I'm not losing my marbles yet." In this video, this man was peacefully sitting on this wall edge, facing the sea, when out of the blue, he gets swept away by a gigantic wave that creeps up from behind him. Thankfully, he was okay. Taylor Alyssa shared the following creepy video to TikTok, hoping somebody is able to help her make sense of everything that has been going on for her.
Can somebody please explain to me what's going on in my apartment? I know I'm not the only one just seeing stuff going on in the camera. IDK how long it's been going on, but now it wants to be seen or for me to feel its presence. Don't know what to do, please explain.
In this live video from 2015, a news crew is in front of a bank covering a robbery that just occurred the previous day. Suddenly, a bank employee comes storming out of the building, pointing at somebody off camera. Absolutely stunned and confused, the news reporters soon realize that the bank employee is pointing at the robber who is getting into a van.
What? Oh, that's the robber.
The suspect turns out to be the same guy that had robbed the bank the day before, and was sentenced to nearly 10 years in prison. This video shows a guy putting up what seems to be some Christmas lights using a ladder. However, as he hangs them up, the ladder falls down and almost takes him down with it. Luckily, the man is able to hold on and amazingly manages to avoid falling down and hurting himself severely. In this video from 2017, Wendy Williams is hosting a Halloween edition on her daytime talk show, dressed up as the Statue of Liberty. Suddenly, while announcing an upcoming segment, Williams stopped mid-sentence as her eyes began to bulge and her whole body began to wobble violently before abruptly collapsing to the floor.
Was not a stunt. I'm overheated in my costume and I did pass out.
While viewers had initially thought that the incident was a Halloween prank, Williams returned after a commercial break to assure them that it was not. This video was uploaded to TikTok on October 16th of 2022, and if it's authentic, it's pretty creepy. It features a woman looking into her neighbor's window at what appears to be a seance. The women can be heard shouting and screaming, and at one point another woman enters the frame, and they all stop. Seconds later, they jerk their heads abruptly and stare directly towards the camera.
And I see my neighbors.
Why she didn't immediately put down the camera, or run for that matter, is unknown. I suppose the last few seconds are telling. leading me to believe that this video was staged. A home surveillance video filmed on July 27th of 2022 shows the wild moments in which this adorable dog got way too excited over something before eventually falling and causing a massive television set to crash to the floor. Something tells me that this dog is going to be in some big trouble. Does this incredibly creepy TikTok video showcase an actual ghost? It's hard to tell for sure.
Po filmoja këtë video, ishën korç për bërë content dhe tani shikoj. E pat, e future, nëse jo po e bëj qik zoom. Shive ke dritarja majtas mes. Opa, e pe atë? Ja ku e ke më të zbardur edhe slow motion për ta pa për herë të fundit. What the f*** is that?
Apparently, this is security camera footage of a guard attending to the ghost of a woman who passed away the night before. This highly unnerving video uploaded to TikTok by Sev Nella may demonstrate the existence of paranormal entities. Does this terrifying video filmed in the middle of the night outdoors capture the sounds of a skinwalker? Skinwalkers can mimic the sounds of people. So when you think that somebody is in trouble and you go out to help them, you may get attacked, or worse. Thankfully, the uploader didn't get harmed. However, they may have just avoided something awful. In this video, a father is checking to see what his young daughter is doing, when suddenly, a mysterious second girl's face can be seen sitting on the bed along with the daughter.
Hey, me.
When the father goes to investigate further, however, the second girl is mysteriously gone. Brumadinho is a municipality in southeastern Brazil, home to just over 40,000 people. It is also the home of the Correio de Feijão iron ore mine, the site of one of the worst dam failures in human history. But instead of holding back water, this dam was holding back toxic mining byproducts. On January 25th of 2019, the Brumadinho Dam collapsed suddenly. A massive mudslide engulfed the iron mine while the employees were eating lunch. It spread for miles through the forest before reaching a river. Stationary camera footage shows just how truly catastrophic this incident was. The earthen wall can be seen collapsing, leading to a powerful landslide that wipes out everything in its path. Mud and debris cascade over the tree line before making its way towards the mine itself. It's here in which we can see the wall of debris push its way across the landscape as workers do their best to make a speedy exit. The dam was owned and operated by a company named Vale, the world's largest producer of iron ore and nickel. The same company was responsible for another catastrophic failure in Brazil 4 years prior. Unfortunately, The Brumadinho Dam incident claimed 270 lives, most of which were Vale employees who were enjoying their lunch when the incident suddenly happened. One man made it out alive and did an interview with BBC to explain his side of the story and what happened to him when all of this went down. On June 1st of 2019, a powerful storm passed through the small Southern California town of Springville. The next day, Jay Kelly returned home in his white SUV when he suddenly heard something strange coming from his roof. He described it as a cracking sound, and he swore he heard his cat meowing up there. Worried about his pet, Jay walked off to the side of his house to investigate. Moments later, he cheated death. Jay's kids came racing out of the house to make sure that he was okay, and thankfully, he did escape in the nick of time. According to Jay, a local solar company had installed the outdoor garage 4 years before the collapse. He suspects that the storm must have weakened the structure. This video starts off with a plane flying around, and at first, all seems to be going fine, but that all changes when this particular plane gets way too close to the ground. The pilot then touches the ground, and it initially appears as if the plane is going to wipe out or explode into a great ball of fire, but thankfully, he manages to make an emergency landing. In this video, tsunami-like waves crash over this hotel complex located somewhere in Russia. Imagine walking out of your balcony first thing in the morning to get some fresh air, only to see this shocking sight. In this video, a farmer is trying to demolish an old silo on his land. Unfortunately for him, it doesn't go quite as planned, however. They later devise a new plan using a tractor to pull the silo down. Once they put the plan into motion, it works and the whole thing can be seen collapsing to the ground in spectacular fashion. Chris from the YouTube channel Urbex Hill is back at it again. This time, he is exploring an old abandoned school called the Central Academy, which is said to be quite haunted. Just 2 minutes into the investigation, something chilling happens near the school's locker rooms. Chris doesn't seem to notice. A little while later, while exploring a dark and dreary hallway, an equally terrifying thing happens. At this point, Chris hasn't seen anything happening, but is continuing to look around. Just as he nears his final moments of investigating, he experiences a few more chilling things before you can exit.
Someone's upstairs.
As mentioned earlier, it doesn't seem that Chris noticed anything watching him from behind the pillars and windows. Still, if you look closely, you can see what appears to be some mysterious shadow figure, keeping a close eye on him. One thing was for sure, when he reviewed the footage later on, he had quite the scare. Uttarakhand is a North Indian state that is usually referred to as Devbhumi, which translates to Land of the Gods. The nickname comes from the numerous Hindu temples that are scattered around the area. It is also a Himalayan state, meaning its people are at the mountain's mercy. In February of 2021, a glacial dam burst high up in the mountains, causing massive amounts of water and debris to rush towards the workers that were stationed below.
कंपनी का आज वो तो नहीं होता देखिए भाई तूफान आ रहा जबरदस्त कंपनी की तरफ जा रहा है ये
Several videos from different angles show just how mighty the mountains are. It looks like a group of clouds coming through the valley, but in all actuality, it is just dust and debris rising up from the water. The water rips through the valley and floods the entire area below. However, what might just be the scariest part is the low, ominous hum that can be heard coming from the rushing water. A little bit later, the water had made its way into a dam in the valley, quickly breaking through the reinforced concrete. Lots of people have argued over what caused the landslide that ultimately led to the dam's failure. Some people have placed the blame on climate change, whereas others blame a domino effect of natural disasters. A study from June confirmed that a gigantic ice and rock avalanche caused the failure of the dam and the flood that followed. Experts estimate the avalanche was 27 million cubic meters of rock and glacial ice. The ice melted as it fell, which in turn resulted in the flood. Take a look at this truly shocking footage of a storm that starts off relatively simple before transforming into something genuinely catastrophic. The uploader of this video can only stand in one place and turn the camera in complete shock and awe as debris flies around and dust is kicked up into the air. In one truly wild moment, the wind becomes so strong that it ends up ripping off parts of buildings in the distance.
Alter! Scheiße, Alter!
Hopefully, after he finished filming this video, the uploader found some shelter before the storm got even more violent and vigorous. This next video was published to a TikTok account belonging to a youth named Ola Nabas Laminate and was presumably filmed in Indonesia. We follow the uploader as he seemingly wanders around what appears to be an abandoned building late at night. It seems like a bad idea, especially seeing as he's doing this creepy investigation all by himself. Throughout the course of the video, he shows us around the eerie area, which is enough to give you chills. He walks around the distraught neighborhood, and we don't see anything overtly scary at first. Around the 25-second mark, something incredibly creepy happens. A strange, ghostly figure appears on the floor above him and proceeds to linger there throughout the remainder of the video. Take a look and see who or what this is.
Lemah. Yuk, yang katanya ada sosok ibu terhebat. Innalillahi. Allahu Akbar. Astagfirullahaladzim, bau anjing. Goblok. Bau, ya Allah, Kang. Wah. Innalillahi, naon, wah. Gue nyium bau, wah. Gue nyium bau, wah. Sumpah, wah. Astagfirullahaladzim, wah. Di bawah ada suara geblukan lagi. Di bawah ada suara geblukan. Innalillahi wa innalillahi rajiun. A'udzubillahi minasyaitonirrajim. Kita adu mekanik. A'udzubillahi minasyaitonirrajim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim.
What did it want with this TikTok user? Was it a friendly ghost, or was it planning to harm someone? If it is the latter, we can all breathe a collective sigh of relief that nothing happened to the uploader. The Auburn Dam was proposed as a way to control flooding in the American River, and the concept was born in 1950. It took 18 years for construction to finally get off the ground, and it began as a $5.1 million diversion tunnel to reroute the American River through the mountainside. But everything suddenly came to a halt in 1975. A 5.7 magnitude earthquake hit the Sierra Nevada area about 50 miles north of the Auburn Dam. Engineers and geologists were worried that the dam would not survive a similar earthquake, so they decided to pause the project until they could come up with a game plan. By 1979, workers had a foundation and an earthen dam made out of clay, sand, and soil. It finally seemed as if things were going to get back on track, but in 1986, some unprecedented rainfall put yet another halt on the project. Water quickly filled the dam to the point where it exceeded its storage capacity. Officials started to fear that a disaster was imminent, and it was. As excess water poured over the dam, the loose soil rapidly started to erode, and while it was designed to do this, it happened significantly faster than anyone had expected. Not much longer after it first overtopped, the erosion had carved its way into the reservoir itself, increasing the output rate. At 2:30 in the afternoon on February 18th, almost half of the entire dam was gone. An even bigger tragedy was avoided by the quick thinking of the officials, who decided to lower the water levels of the dam downstream. This was able to hold strong throughout the disaster. Pithoragarh is a Himalayan city in India, close to the Indian-Chinese border. It's known as an educational hub of the Hilli region, seeing as how students have a plethora of choices for engineering, nursing, and tech. The region is also susceptible to heavy rainfall during the wet months, however. In June of 2021, heavy rain attacked the area, eventually causing rock, dirt, and debris to fall from the mountain and block several major roads and highways. One brave group got close enough to watch a chunk of the mountain come loose before crashing to the street down below. Over the years, the city of Dallas has had their skyline evolve, causing a need to remove several old and decaying buildings to make way for brand new ones. On February 16th of 2020, a shocking building implosion failed miserably, with a portion of the tower remaining standing. Locals later referred to the building as the Leaning Tower of Dallas. And once you take a look, you will see why. The group filming the video waited patiently for several hours for the demolition to commence, and once it did, they excitedly began filming. It quickly turned to chaos when the attempt failed miserably. Demolition crews were probably both annoyed and admittedly impressed by what had happened. The steel core withstood roughly 3,000 pounds of dynamite. After a few weeks, though, the remaining portion was finally brought down with a wrecking ball. This video, uploaded in November of 2011, claims to show an actual ghost sighting caught on camera somewhere in Johannesburg. A few friends were gathered inside a house when something strange appeared outside.
Jij gaat dus altijd, dit wordt al dichtgesnoten.
Ach, maar...
We gaan arm weer.
Ik geef wel terug eventueel.
Maar
Je geeft nooit.
Oh, dat is
Wat is er gebeurd?
Wat?
Wat is zo buiten? Heb je het gezien?
One thing I noticed that could make this fake is the ominous rumbling atmospheric sound effect in the background. It sounds like something was added to the audio track, but most people believe this one to be real. If it turned out to be a hoax, I still think it's well made. The demolition of this smokestack didn't go quite as planned. The smokestack didn't fall where it was supposed to, instead crushing power equipment and a building. The plant was built in 1927 and has remained unused since 1981. The building structure was demolished during the summer of 2010 with a wrecking ball, and the smokestack was finished at noon on 11/10/2010 with high explosives. Stay tuned for our #1 pick that will shock you. Imagine you're heading to work one busy morning in Yibin, China. You're in the middle of traffic while people are beeping, and then you look out your window at the passing mountain to see a massive boulder rolling right towards you. This happened to a Chinese driver in October of 2020 when a massive boulder came racing down the mountain, landing on the hood of his car. We can see smoke billowing from the engine. We eventually see 2 men rush over to inspect the damage, but thankfully, nobody got hurt.
我不知道，现在我看不到，但整个车的车牌都被砸了。